How's it going?
Oh man, it's going, dude. We're back.
Definitely, man. I love the picture that we used for the graphic. You look really, really good.
Thank
So
you.
definitely. So tell us about this prep, like everything about it.
Well, let's see. This is going to be my fifth show, but only my fourth full prep because my first two shows were 1 week apart,
Mhm.
and I've done 14 weeks for every one of them. And this one, honestly, what's crazy is this has gone better than previous preps. But I was told by my nutritionist and my posing coach that that's how it goes. That every time you do it, as long as you take care of yourself between shows, that each prep goes better. Your body gets into condition more easily and you actually get better condition each time. And this experience has actually been pretty crazy because, again, I get plenty of food. I was eating actually higher carbs during this prep than previous preps, and I've actually had far better results. Uh, it's been an interesting journey because I said 14 weeks, and I've been in show condition for close to a month already, actually. So now it's really just tightening things up and just conditioning the muscle through just keep training, getting the pump, posing practice, and you know, just got to hold it through the week now.
Definitely. I just want to say what's up to everybody who came by. So we got Ivy Pro, Lloyd Devins, we got Andrew, we got Armbrust Dylan. Wow. We got KG Gus, we got your beautiful wife, we've got Frankie, I can't say that out loud. We've got Tennessee Pro Pet Foods, what's up? Deuce, Little Freak, James, bunch of people. Tomasa from Indiana, OG Snick from the Wellness Competitors page, Jeff Williamson. He's awesome, by the way. We got Morgan. So, how many weeks did you prep for this? Because I know you said normally it's 14, but it sounds like this one was a lot shorter, right?
No, I did 14 again because
Okay.
just to be safe. We didn't know how I was gonna condition, how I was gonna dial in, and like I said, just went way better than we expected.
Hmm.
So to tell you, I think I want to say my first couple preps, I got down to a little over 4%, but still went on stage looking really good. Back in December, I did Battle of Texas, and I got down to right at 4%, and this time I'm at 3.6. And I've been there well, I got measured twice, and so 2 weeks apart, almost 2 weeks apart, and I held that same number. I think so. We think that's probably as low as my body fat's going to go. I don't, my nutritionist Kim Porterfield, she was telling me, she goes, I don't think you have anything else you can lose. I think we're down to your essential fat, and that's as far as it's going to go. So I'm really happy with it because in posing practice, I'm seeing details I've never seen, never thought would be possible in my physique. Of course, you get veins coming out of place, veins on top of veins. It's been pretty sick. It's been really cool because I never knew my body would be capable of this conditioning. So I'm really excited to see how it look on Saturday once the tan goes on, the water comes off. Because this is again way more conditioned than I've ever been.
Definitely. What's up, Irma Shirley? What's up, Flex Appeal Official? So, is the training done, or you still got a couple more workouts left before the show?
So today's a push day. I just go just get a chest pump, some triceps, and a little shoulders, and then do my cardio. And that's the last day of lifting. And then tomorrow's light cardio. That's it. And just keep practice posing every day. That's it from here on out.
Now,
Yeah, today last day lifting today.
gotcha. And today is it like somewhat light or like a regular last workout?
So I don't go like crazy heavy or anything. I'm not lifting for weight today. It's just to pump blood into the muscle. So I'll use some lighter weight with a lot of reps, short range of motion, just to engage the muscle, get it pumped, and then just kind of engorge it, and then go pose, do some cardio. That's it. Yeah, nothing heavy, nothing because dude, I'm too old to lift heavy anyway. But I don't want to risk any injuries 4 days out from a show.
For sure, for sure.
Today would be the day that I would tear something.
No, yeah, yeah. I mean, hopefully never, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's foolish to train hard this late in the game. Now, it sounds like you're going to kind of coast into the show, right? You're not going to like severely punish your body like during the whole peak week, right? I mean, it sounds like you're pretty dialed in as it is, right?
Yeah. So I've seen, over the years, you see and read about guys and women too who go through crazy, preps and they diet down crazy low calories, things like that. But Kim has really, I mean, together we've really figured out what works well for me. And so we don't really do anything crazy. Like my sodium starts changing tomorrow. We don't do water loading or anything like that. I actually don't start cutting water until Friday night. And then of course we do a little trickery on Saturday with the water, but I never really have to do anything crazy. It's just, and I don't, coasting into the show, I feel like I would jinx it if I said that, but honestly, it's really just don't screw anything up. Just keep doing it. I just do what she tells me to do. And, she sent me my plan today that goes from, today through Saturday, and nothing crazy on there. Just, again, like I said, just changing the sodium a little bit starting tomorrow, and, nothing crazy. And we just changed my carb source over on Friday and Saturday.
Definitely. What's up, Clutch Life, and what's up, RB Green? So, with regards to sleep, now, just a weird question: do you sleep the night before the show? Because people are just so amped up, they're just so wired. Others sleep, and they just, I think sleep's fantastic if you can do it.
Yeah. So, getting towards this point, I want to say the last month and a half, something like that, is when my sleep starts to suffer. As your body fat gets really low, it becomes, I don't know what it is, man. It's just like, well, I do know what it is, but without getting into the details of it, my sleep starts to suffer. So, again, repping Blackstone, that anesthetized is actually a huge help. I love that stuff. I'm not trying to, pump the brand right here, but I'm just saying that stuff has helped me immensely when it comes to having trouble sleeping. That helps me get to sleep and stay asleep. Now the night before a show, yeah, of course the nerves are there and all that, but then the question is like my water consumption slows down on Friday night, so it's going to be hard to mix that into water. So I got to figure out how can I still get that in without overdoing the water. I mean, I'll figure something out because honestly, I'm going to need the help because I know I'll be, like you said, I'll probably be a little too amped up to fall asleep at a decent time. But that would be, and that sucks because that's when you really, really need it, like the night before.
No, definitely. PJ used to talk a lot about ashwagandha too would help at night, and a lot of, but because you're so close to the stage though, I would almost be scared to take anything because what if it would make you hold water? Well, so many things and Evaporate's another great product by Blackstone, but again, that might be too hard on you at this point because you might everything's just structured so perfectly that the last thing you want to do is throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing.
No, yeah, I've definitely got ashwagandha. I use that cortisol blocker at night. That helps as well. We found that I want to say getting ready for my last show when I was having trouble sleeping, and Kim told me, she goes, try this out and see how it helps. Huge difference. So I do love that stuff too. And then, yeah. And like you said, the water retention thing, I do have a bottle of Evaporate too. I tried that out a little bit last time and that stuff works really, really well. I mean, for an over the counter supplement, not prescription, that stuff's really amazing.
Definitely. Now let's talk a little bit about your show. So you're doing the 2022 NPC Muscle Beach Classic. Like I said, the promoter, he's awesome. What's up? Is it KDK and Bella Becca Fit and Gummies Gas and James Profit? So yeah, he's reposted us twice, which I think is great. And I think you're promoting the show. So how did you pick this show, and why do you want it so badly?
So my very first show back in 2020 was Muscle Beach. And then, I went to the other organization for a couple shows, learned my lesson, and then just came back to NPC. So John Sherman, John the Tank Sherman is the one who puts on Muscle Beach Classic. He also does Houston Tournament of Champions. So I did Muscle Beach the first time, and then my posing coach, Harvey Franks, is good friends with John and asked me if I wanted to work security with him at his shows. So I've actually worked 3 shows now, John Sherman shows, just helping, secure the backstage area. Not like security, but we just kind of guard the VIP area and, keep people from going backstage who aren't supposed to be there. And all my interactions with John have always been really cordial. He's a super nice guy. He goes around, shakes hands with people. I'm not saying I've been around stuck-up promoters or anything, but he's always been really kind. And my experience at his shows, being in one of his shows before and then also seeing how the athletes get treated at the shows that I've worked, He just puts on a great show. He makes, you know, tries to do everything he can to make sure the athletes are taken care of. Being backstage at those shows, the expediters at his shows work really, really hard to make sure people are where they are, where they're supposed to be. I mean, they go out of their way. And in my opinion, I think they do a little more than they should to make sure people are where they need to be. I mean, I don't mean to be mean when I say that, but you know, you're always checking the schedule. When am I supposed to be here? And guys and girls, they just leave. But he makes sure to go the extra mile to make sure people are, you know, hey, he doesn't want them to miss their chance on stage. You know, and like I said, and they just run a really tight ship. The schedule runs pretty close to on time, if not on time every time. And, you know, I just really like the guy. I really like his shows. And so, when I was picking what was coming up in the fall, there's a lot of shows going on right now in this part of Texas. Well, actually all over Texas. And I just, you know what? I'm going to go back to where I started. I like Muscle Beach. I like his shows. And so that's how I came back around to it.
Very cool. Yeah, you know, Texas, Florida, Michigan, these are states that have an enormous amount of shows. And, you know, I think it's so important to run a tight ship. You know, I used to do a lot of contest coverage, and I've been to shows where, you know, somebody might have won, you know what I mean, the overall in the prejudging, and then missed the night show because, like, you know, people, I don't know, like, what the fascination is with watching TV in a hotel room, but people will watch TV in a hotel room right through the night show. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just so important to have everybody where they need to be.
I think, you know, and I'll tell you, in some people's defense, you know, when you're there, and of course, different people are in different states of mind. We call it diet brain, but when you're there and you know, some of these people are on really low calories, some of them haven't had water all day. And so it doesn't surprise me that people kind of get forgetful. It's happened to me in the past. I forget what I'm doing. Like, you know, my wife had to remind me, aren't you supposed to be doing this or something like that? I'm like, really? And I look at my calendar and sure enough, I'm about to miss something because, you know, I just completely forgot. And, you know, as you get closer to a show, your mind just starts doing goofy things. You can be standing backstage and completely forget what you were doing 5 minutes ago. So it doesn't surprise me. It happens. But then I think some people also think that, I think some people might have an expectation. Hey, yeah, they'll look for me or somebody will let me know. But man, I check the schedule religiously. I make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be, because I'm a freak about being late or missing that, you know, that opportunity. I'm going to be lined up when I'm supposed to be.
Definitely. You know, in all the years I learned, well, not always, but a lot of times I learn with these interviews. In all the years I've been doing contest coverage, I know about, you know, calorie depletion, and I know about, like, you know, like how people, the highs and lows in contest prep, but I've never actually heard anybody like give me a rebuttal about diet brain. I've never heard, and it's so true because, like, you know, like that's because I never understood, like, why would somebody, like, what is so cool about sitting in your hotel room? But maybe that's the first time you sit in the whole day. And if you're in a fog, it easily, you could miss stuff. So that's why I think it's great your wife's around, or, you know, for other people, someone that's not in prep is around to kind of just remind them. Otherwise, you know, they could just forget everything, you know?
Yeah, and when you're not on stage, obviously, if you have time, the best thing you can do is actually go to your room and lay down and keep your feet up, because they'll tell you, you know, it helps keep water off and does keep you from retaining and all that stuff. So obviously, if you have that opportunity, you want to do that instead of sitting around the crowd, walking around an expo. The best thing you can do as a competitor is go lay down, but always set alarms, man. Know where you're supposed to be. And, you know, I've been like that since I first started, because I saw when the expediters were yelling out names, saying, I need you lined up right now. They start lining people up so far ahead of time so that they try not to miss anybody. So that's why I'm a freak about making sure I'm in the right place. And yeah, I'll go back to the room and chill. But if I know I'm supposed to be back there at a certain time, well, I want to get there half an hour before that at least.
Definitely. Let me ask you one last thing, because I know, like, I don't want to keep you long. I appreciate you doing this, and I think it's great that you're, you know, promoting the show. Of course, I'm going to ask you about your club because I'm fascinated with that. Your wife is so awesome. And but what advice would you give to competitors after the show? Because a lot of times after the show, a competitor could put on 20 pounds, you know, just by eating everything in sight. And some people actually get quite sick doing that. So what advice would you give to competitors, especially newer competitors, you know, after the show, like how much to eat and how much not to eat and that sort of thing?
So, man, that's honestly, it's different for everybody, because I've seen people just go nuts. And now I'll tell you, honestly, I've done it myself. But for me, I realized my problem is those fancy donuts. That's what I if I go, because you know my family's brought me. Here we have a company called Voodoo Donuts. I don't know how widespread they are. In Vegas, they have Wicked Donuts, and it's kind of the same thing where they have these, you know, those big donuts, and they put all kinds of just junk and toppings and cookie crumbles. Yeah. And so we've had those a couple times after shows. And if I go through a couple of those, because, you know, your tendency is to go, this is so good, I don't want to stop eating it.
Right.
If you go through two or three of those, yeah, I'm going to feel like garbage. But so now I said, well, you know what? I'm just going to have a few of these, like, now Top Secret Cookies is the new one that I found. They're usually at all the local shows. So I've got a handful of those coming. But then it's just, I'm going to go eat dinner. And, you know, I'm going to have some bad food, of course, and some dessert. I'll wake up and have a nasty breakfast. And then I might have, you know, like a cheeseburger and fries sometime during Sunday. But after that, you know, I tone it back because I think, you know, the crazy thing is, you know, like the picture that you use on the graphic was taken right after I came back from Vegas. I did the Vegas show. I was doing that on a Saturday. And of course, I ate like crap that night. I ate like crap on Sunday. Monday morning, I got up and ate egg whites and oatmeal and did that photo shoot. And yeah, and it's crazy because Sunday and Monday, you look freaking amazing, right? If you obviously if you ate 24 hours a day, you probably wouldn't, but your body just absorbs it, I guess, and like your just muscles just pop. And that's when all those guys usually do their photo shoots after shows, after they've had a few meals like that. You're not stage amazing because obviously there's going to be some water in there, but you're photo looking right, photo amazing, if that makes sense. And then, but then I go back to about 80-20 clean to dirty. I you know, because if you want to keep doing this, you can't just go nuts for a week or two. You have to get back into clean eating for the most part, and then you can still have some junk food on the weekends or once or twice a week, depending on your metabolism, your physique, how your body responds. But I've learned that I can have some fun on that weekend. And then as long as I get back to clean eating, like Sunday night, Monday morning, and then just, you know, keep it under control, then dialing down for a show is like proving to be easier and easier each time. Like I said earlier, it's just, as long as you take care of yourself between the shows, it's okay, but just don't do it for a week or two. Cause yeah, you're going to blow up in the wrong way.
Right. No, for sure. For sure. Okay. So leaving the best for last, your club, your wife, like who would you like to thank? And again, thank you for doing this. I think it's awesome. I'm so proud of you. And I've never seen you fat. First of all, I've never seen you fat.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
but you just get shredded. I mean, 3.5% body fat. I mean,
yeah, done.
You say anybody, and they're going to think you're like juiced to the gills, taking everything inside. You're probably not. You're probably just like dieting hard and staying consistent, but still kudos to you.
Being completely transparent, I am on TRT, but it's not, it's a monitored TRT, so I'm not on some kind of crazy high doses. My levels are always still within the normal range, but that's it. Some people may not believe that, and that's fine. You know, if they don't, you know, some people never believe it because, you know, they think, oh man, he's got to be on roids, but I don't use any drugs. You know, I get implanted testosterone pellets every 5.5 months, and that's all I have. And everything else is just nutrition, you know, my supplements and, you know, like doing the training and putting in the cardio time. But, you know, and like I said, that's it. So, you know, but now, and of course, dropping all my weight when I did back in the day, that was just cutting out the garbage and doing the cardio. And it took me a year to drop all that weight. I think we talked about that in the last time we did this. And then, like I said, now it's easier to maintain. And like I said, some of the elasticity is coming back, you know, using, collagen and L-proline. And then also what I've learned, I think, is also every time you condition for a show, I think I'm getting some of that elasticity back from that process as well. There's still some skin issues back, you know, the backside and whatnot, but you know, it's what I deal with. But as far as thanks go, obviously, thank you for letting me do this. I appreciate you having me on and, you know, helping to publicize this, well, not just me, but the show. Like I said, I'm a real big fan of John Sherman and his productions. But yeah, my wife, of course, because, you know, when I first started this, it was really hard for her to tolerate, because it's like the mood swings, the lack of sleep, the being tired. I'm freezing all the time the last few weeks. You know,
right.
Yeah, I'm complaining about being cold all the time, and it's still summer-ish here. Um, but my wife, my club has been extremely tolerant because I've missed a lot of gatherings with those guys, and I have to miss out on events because I got to go to the gym on Friday night, or I've got to go see my nutritionist today, so I can't go see you guys, or I got to go to my posing coach. So, those guys, I love them to death for being so supportive as well. Kim Porterfield, I mentioned her, my nutritionist. She's with Institute of Eating Management, and she's her partner. He's retired, but she's worked with Keith Klein, so she's learned from the best. And then Harvey Franks is my posing coach. He has taught me so much over the last couple of years, and he's even like the more I work with him, he's even teaching me more and more little tips and tweaks on my posing to make my physique look even better on stage. He kind of builds you up. Once you learn how to do a pose, he's like, all right, now we're going to make that pose a little bit different. We're going to make it better. And he's so good at looking at somebody's physique and saying, hey, to display, for your front double biceps, you should be doing this versus this because it'll bring your legs out more. You can bring your lats out more. So he's a freaking wizard at that stuff. And then, of course, Blackstone Labs. They said, love these products. I use Blackstone Labs exclusively, and they've always been good to me. I know he's probably not watching, but Brett Lilberg is my call center rep. He's always taking care of me, and I'll keep it on the down low because he does low key hook me up sometimes, and but does a lot of good things for me. And that's honestly, that I think that's yeah. There's probably more people I should list, but
yeah, that's a good top 10.
But I will say this, like I've told people in the past, like we said on the last live, and I told people when I talked to them in the gym about competing, I said, make sure if you've got a family, make sure the support system's there, because now like Austin the Alpha, I can't think of his last name. He's a Legion member too. He just recently did his very first show, and he's like, dude, this is like, he says it was like his one and done because of how hard it is on the family. And I'm like, it can be rough, but all my kids are out of the house now. My youngest just started college, and so, and I've got my son who I think is still on here is in the Marines. He's off in California, and I've got my other kids are older and off on their own. So we don't have kids to worry about in the house. And we're still trying to make some trips and see everybody, but not having to shuttle people back and forth to school or after school activities makes it easier. And then, when I say my wife tolerates this, like she's actually become more instrumental. I talked about on the last live, like, hey, like when I'm at the gym, yeah, there he goes. When I'm at the gym and she's getting home before me, it's like, hey, do you need egg whites cooked? Do you need anything done before you get home so I don't have to stay up extra late cooking? Or, if I need some clothes washed or something. She's been a huge help, huge support. So, I'm looking forward to this being over, not just because, I need the prep to be over, but because, I think it's important and people need to know this. Like if you're doing this and you need to realize it does take a toll on the family and your support structure, you got to take some time to give back, and you got to take some time to, spend time doing stuff they want to do, spend time, date nights, eating a regular meal together at home or even out or whatever. You got to keep those things in mind. And that's part of why I take long between shows. One is because I want to improve and I want to be good at it. But two, because you got to take time to give back and do the family stuff, do things around there. And plus anniversaries in November. So I can't very well start competing again, right? Prepping again after that. So, and then the holidays are coming up. So it'd be a nice little break.
For sure. And I haven't said 2 words to her. I added her, she added me back, and she's reposting, but I do want to reach out to her because I think it's very, very cool. And I think it's more cool, more than anything else, the point, like Bernie Sanders, is that you're thanking her 4 days before the show. Because a lot of people will think after the show. You're very aware that, this is a lot for her to deal with and a lot for the people around you and your club and just everybody. And so I think it's all the more genuine that you recognize it before the show, as opposed to after.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, exactly. So whether or not I place or win or don't, that thanks always needs to be there, and I want to make sure those people know they're appreciated, all of them.
Definitely. And I think you'll do very well, not just because we're friends and not just because Blackstone. And not, I think you're going to do well because you've worked really hard. You've got a great nutritionist. When a nutritionist says to you, hey, there's nothing more for you to lose, that's a good sign. And the fact that you have a,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I think it's great that, and I'll let you have last word, but I think it's great that people go to posing clinics. But in one clinic, there's like 100 people. You might get like 30 seconds of attention. Watching YouTube videos is nice too, but to actually have a posing coach, I can tell you, you could do it 5 different ways, but this is the best way for you. You can't beat that.
Oh, absolutely. Because, and you can tell the people on stage who have put the time into posing practice because, there's plenty of guys, plenty of men and women up there who have these amazing physiques and we call it wasting muscle on stage because they don't know how to display it.
Right.
But I was really lucky that when I started this process, somebody told me about posing coaching and I found somebody who was so good at it. And, and it makes all the difference. I'm glad I found him early on because there's people up there who just don't really know how to do it well.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm the greatest, but I know I definitely understand the importance of putting the work in and the practice.
Definitely. Well, listen, I wish you the best of luck, guys. If you're anywhere near, if you're in Texas, anywhere near the show, please go to the 2022 NPC Muscle Beach Classic. See John, support the competitors, support the sport. And again, thank you so much for taking the time. I wish you nothing but success wherever you place. I think you're going to win, but wherever you place, best of luck to you.
I'd love to win, but we'll see what we can do. And that's why I say, the last thing I'll say is I never post shirtless progress pics because I just, it's kind of, for me, it's like a mental thing. I'm afraid I'm going to jinx something, but I'm really, really excited about the look that I'm going to have on stage. And so, I tell people, I said, if you want to see, man, you got to come out because it's going to be a great show overall, but I can't wait to show, how the work has paid off and what we've been able to accomplish as a team.
Definitely, definitely. So thank you so very much for John Benavides, Christian Duke, StrengthAddicts.com. This is PJ, right? Let's do like PJ. Peace out. Bye.
Thanks, man.